All right. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Joe Blake, and welcome to On Point, where we help you get your financial point across. Got some great information to share with you today again, as always, great information. Now, this is the second edition of barriers, understanding business financial ethics, barriers to ethical decision making. Man, was this class on time? Because I'm telling you, this class is on time. So, want to kind of get things rolling with you. Bring my young man, my professor, on board here. Joseph, are you there? No, okay, you having a problem with your video, but you there, son?
Just on mute. Yes, I'm here.
All right. And how you doing today? He's kind of missing. Look at that right there.
Yeah. I'm doing cool. Having a little technical difficulties, but other than that, I'm doing well.
All right, good deal. All right. So, today we're going to finish up our discussion on ethics and how those behaviors, and you got to get in the crosshairs of what we do. Before we go there, I wanted to remind everyone that next week, we're going to be talking about financial literacy and real estate with Stuart Gettner. That is going to be a powerful show. We're going to talk about, buying, selling, and the real estate, the whole deal. Now, my son is the expert in that. Joseph, he's the expert in that right there. So he'll be able to share more insights into that. But it's going to be great. Real estate is another item on the wealth building list as you go forward in what you're doing. So that's going to be next week. So be here next week at 11 a.m. as well. All right. So now with that, let's go and kind of get the main deal up here so we can get it going. All righty. So here we are for today as we get going. Common barriers to ethical decision making is kind of like a refresher from last week. And we discussed how those things that we looked at as far as ethics is concerned, how pressures to meet targets and can pressure us to make a certain decision and everything. But ethics in its whole, ethics is about a moral principle that govern our behavior or the conduct of our activity. So if we don't have a handle on that moral behavior or conduct, that can cause us to go off the left side somewhere, right side somewhere, and things won't work right. So a lack of ethical awareness can cost you money, can cost you integrity, can cost you trust, and all those things trust and integrity. All those things is what you need to continue to build your business. The influence of your corporation, the influence of your corporation could just go straight down the toilet, and that happens. Then goes down the toilet. There goes your credibility and everything. What do you think about that, son?
Ethics is important. You can't do or be anything without it.
Right.
Reputation is everything.
Yep. Reputation. So another reminder from last week here. One, two. We were talking about how cases where here we go. How fraud and how ethics can make just tear things up. Fraud is deceptive practices and everything. Got to maybe mindful of the deceptive practices, and then the ethical commitment to you making the right decision improves for your stakeholders, the stakeholder relationship, and the long-term success of your business or your organization. So that again, this is just a reminder from last week. Now, here we are today, part 2, strategies to overcome ethical barriers. So part 2 here is strategies to overcome ethical barriers. Now, as we look at these barriers we want to overcome, that's kind of like an I print right there. I test. But if you break down your decision making and financially in quarters, you're breaking it down just to have a greater understanding of what's going on. Start in the beginning of the year, launch some training about finding, emphasize real world scenarios for your team, what this year could end up in from an ethical standpoint. And in your year, you can start from January to December, or you go from October to October. That's a fiscal year, but start the first quarter of that point talking about what the real world scenarios that can come into play and how you can adjust to them. If you want to have an example of it, you can actually use Gemini AI and ask it to create scenarios for you, and then you can use those as examples. That if you don't want to use real world examples, the second quarter after you start developing in the second quarter, guidelines outline acceptable practices that are there within your organization to address. You don't want your emotions to just fly off and let your feelings address things, or your feelings that react. You want to respond. A response is when you step back, sit down, and see what's available, and make sure you address things accordingly. And then the third quarter of the year, you want to create an environment that encourages employees to voice their ethical concerns. Give them the teammates an opportunity to open up and share what they feel is appropriate, what they feel could benefit the organization. And that way you can have any fear or without any fear of repercussions, because you open the door. You can't be so high up there you can't take you can't take a joke or something like that. You can't take someone saying something they don't like you. Man, I got people that don't like me, but people like me, then people don't like me. It's just life. Life is that way. Life is. I got family that don't like me, but anyway. Life is that way. You can't let things like that stop you. You got to let it roll off your back, like water. Just you got to keep going. All right. And then at the last quarter of the year, you evaluate how the year has gone. Evaluate all of the processes and things you put in place, and see were they effective, were they good, and then have your own litmus test. One of my own litmus tests that I use that. And the word of God, it says, the gift of God is rich and has no sorrow to it. So if your business got something that's causing you sorrow, it didn't come from God. And your life got something causing you sorrow. So you got to be mindful of that. And also in the book of Proverbs, it says, there's life and death in the power of the tongue. So life and death in the power of your tongue. What you speak is going to speak life into your business, life into your corporation. All right? And then in the book of James, it says that the tongue is a small member. You can set your life, you can set everything on track or on fire. So these are just strategies to overcome ethical behavior. What are your thoughts there, Joe Blake? The third?
Those are some awesome strategies, and I hear what you were saying about people not liking you, but you can't let that stop you from moving forward. So
No, you can't.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's on them.
Yeah.
And you can't make somebody feel a certain way about you. I mean, it's just the way it is. It's a part of life. Not your life, but it's just a part of life.
Yeah.
It's just part of life. All right. So man, I didn't went over each one, but that's okay. We talk about 4.3 environment, and then 4. Make sure you have regular assessments and things like that. All right. So now we're going to talk about the impact of leadership. Once you discuss that, Joey, the impact of leadership on ethical practices.
Okay. All right. So leaders inspire ethical behavior. Leaders who demonstrate ethical behavior inspire their teams to follow suit, fostering a culture of trust and accountability. The influence can lead to improved employee morale and performance. So just to that, you got to lead by example. You got to, you want ethical people working with you. You got to be an ethical person to begin with. And then you got to create a culture where that's the norm. And that's the standard. And so then, that's just an important part of doing business. And you want to be an ethical person. You want ethical people around you.
Right.
I think that's a jersey.
Because if you're off track, they're off track too. And you got a whole bunch of folks that are off track. And then when you got the team that's off track, then the whole organization goes down a wrong road. And that's actually Matthew 7:14. Yeah, Matthew's 7:24. Now, God is dropping stuff into me now, but Matthew 7:4 talks about the wide road. Is it wide is the way and broad is the way? Wide is the road and broad is the way that lead to destruction for all that follow it. So that's the wide road. But narrow is the way, and narrow is the road that leads to righteousness, or lead to a good way of life. So everybody doing it don't mean it's right. Don't mean it's the best way. That thin, narrow way. If it's easy to say A, B, C, or D, but it's not easy to be straight. It takes ethical. It takes things that are getting out of self, getting out of who you are, getting out of everything is about me to get there. What about effective training, son? What do you think about effective training?
I'm gonna read it first. Effective ethics training. Implementing ethics training and communication strategies for leadership can significantly enhance the understanding of ethical standards among employees, ensures everyone is on the same page. I think that's a big part of building that culture that we reference, is have ongoing training, just to keep everybody on the same page. And
right.
Everybody needs to be on the same page. I mean, it's sometimes people might make mistakes. They might forget or not be mindful of how their behavior affects others or the bigger picture. So it's important to have training.
Right, and you got to read. Well, it was this back old way of read, recite, and review. And then read what you're going to do, recite it, one another, and review it. Because training is a repetitive thing. Training is something that, and you make sure it becomes a part of who you are, what you do. When I was a firefighter, we did a lot of training. We trained at, and we had this we always trained for a fire to be uphill and behind your back. That way, when the water goes down, you don't have to use as much pressure. If the fire is behind you, then the smoke is blowing away from you. But not all fires happen that way. Sometimes fires happen up the hill, and sometimes the fire's down you're upwind. So if you're training effectively, you can make the adjustments that you need to have a successful event. You'll be able to save somebody. So you got to be able to have that training, to train for difficulties, to train for mishaps, to train for the unintended. Sometimes the unexpected. Maybe that's what it is. The unexpected. It's got to be ready for that. All right. Guidelines. What are guidelines? What do you think guidelines are?
They give you like a point of reference. They give you a plan to go by. Helps you understand what direction that you're going.
Yeah. I like to describe and share guidelines. Like when you like you're bowling, right? And
Mm-hmm.
little kids, when they bowl, they can't really like pick up the ball and just hack down the aisle, right? They can't. But still, what do we have to do with little kids?
You got to steer them in the right direction.
Yeah, but on a bowling alley, man, when you deal,
You get the bumpers up, so they can keep straight.
I see my pudding pie. She had a birthday party. We went to bowling alley, and they had the bumpers out and everything. So see little kids, man, and So sometimes you got to get the bumper guards out. Because some people go up the guardrail on things to keep things in track. I made it sound like elementary, but there are times when you get some people that get way off track and they off the guardrails, off the guidelines. But you got to make it a priority that the culture of your organization maintains that guardrail. They maintain that respect for one another, that respect for the next person, that respect for the organization, that respect for those that are their partners and everything. Because if you lack respect, man, it's not going to happen for you. You got to be able to respect those that those above you because they lead you. Those are behind you because they need you to push you. You got to maintain that. And if you don't have clear ethical guidelines, this is something that's in writing. Put in writing what you want. Put that in in black and white. Put it in writing what the guidelines are, and be able to post it where people can see and follow them, and financially too, especially financially. This is our blueprint. This is what we believe financially. This is how we're going to approach it financially. This is what we're going to bring to families financially. Put those things in writing. Let people see what you're about. Let people see how you feel, right? Okay, integrity, accounting, accounting and finance.
That's accountability.
Oh, I do that. Good. What did it say?
It says understanding business, financial ethics, and recognizing barriers to ethical decision making is crucial for cultivating a culture of integrity. By prioritizing ethical practices, organizations enhance trust, compliance, and long-term success in their financial operations.
All right, what do we think about that?
I mean, that just it's still building on that culture. One thing that a word that I keep seeing here is culture. You want to build a culture of integrity, of good ethics, people that like-minded people that have the same priorities, the same values and goals, and you want to stay in compliance because companies and organizations, you could, if you're unethical, you could that could be a big liability. You could put your company at risk of getting sued or being shut down. So you want to be ethical, not only so you can stay in compliance, but just that's the right thing to do. That's the right thing to do. You can sleep at night knowing that you're making an honest living.
Right.
And you're doing things good for people.
Right. I mentioned before, it's not who's right, but what's right. Because this person over here may think they're right, that person over there may think they're right, but what's right for your consumers, what's right for your employees, what's right for the people that you serve, what's right is you want to get focus in on that, and that accountability, especially from a finance standpoint. You can't have somebody just take funds from a company or inappropriate purchases outside of the company, and they just because it messes with the company's bottom line. And now if you're only thinking about the bottom line, that's another story as well, because you got to also think about that person as an individual. How are they? How they impact and influence everyone else? So that's just good personhood. When you have that ethics in you, good personhood. I don't know if that's a business term. Good personhood about who you are and what you do. I like I like helping people. I like helping folks see things a different way. That's who I am. This is who I am. But some people are not that way. Their bottom line is their main thing is I don't have my bag here, but their main thing is about the money. But money is just a tool. Money is just a tool. That's all it is. You is who you are, what you're being, and what you're doing that makes the greatest influence in someone's life. So that's our last slide there. Just understanding business ethics and barriers to decision making. Now, how does this fit, son? How do you think this fits?
Well, I just want to say this. Oh man, are you still there? Okay, I just want to say this before it leaves my mind because I'm a cybersecurity instructor, so I think of a lot of things from a cybersecurity perspective. And one thing that's important in the cybersecurity world is being prepared for the unexpected. You know, you're charged with protecting data and systems on behalf of companies and different organizations, and a big part of that is training and being prepared. And so I would apply that same principle to ethics. When you're talking about, you know, being trained for ethics, you want your people to be trained to be ethical, and then by being trained, they're prepared in the event that something unexpected happened. Because unfortunately, we live in a real world and we deal with real people, and people are not perfect. So there might be cases where, you know, people make mistakes, people do things that are unethical. You can't always prevent those things from happening, but how you respond to that can make a big difference.
Right. And then from a financial standpoint, you got to realize that finances are a result of running a good business, of running a business that's ethical, of running a business that's successful, running a business that's profitable. Ethics is a big stand in that, and you have to be understanding and okay with the fact that what you're doing is beneficial for the company, not only the company but the people. Because when you take care of the people will take care of the company. That's how that works. You take care of the people take care of the company. But if your ethics are off, if your morals are off, if your personal behavior, personal behavior is off, that's going to cause some issues with your organization as a whole and your finances as a whole too. You can find yourself in a not so good place. All right. So this has been the understanding of business ethics. And I'm just telling you, this class that came up this last week and this week. So it's like what's happening now is just like a great big old coincidence with life. Life's that way. All right, son. I'm going to put you in the background, do some more closing, and then they'll come back with you later. Okay.
Okay.
Hey, hang on, son. All right, so that was today's message about the business ethics again. Next week, I just want to remind you, be here for Stuart Gettner with finance and real estate. Stuart is awesome with what he'll be able to share and talk about with real estate and things. So we're going to go over like 7 topics and discussion about real estate and finance. So I'm going to remind everyone to like and subscribe to the channel. That's how we grow. That's how we know that you enjoy and gain insights from what we have to share. Download the companion app, the Axable Money app. That's on Apple and on Google Play. I got to check Google Play. That way, that app goes along with the 2 books that I have out. That's Financial Literacy and Financial Legacy. Also, and you can also download the book itself. There you go. Download the book, Building Financial Legacy. That's the second series. The first book is Literacy. Literacy lasts a lifetime. Legacy lasts a generation. So, and the third one is coming. Beginning of start writing in next quarter, the first quarter of next year. And have those books down, and the contents, the things that are in there, it's like the roadmap. It's 3 series. I call them my precious metal series. The gold, sapphire, and emerald that's going to be coming. Those 3, along with the chemical chain reaction, which is your life, will set your financial picture soundly and for the future. All right, so with all of that, just want to remind everyone that we appreciate you listening here, being here with us, and just gaining in more insights and sharing what we have to share with you today. So, in closing, I want to say, always remember to stay tuned, stay informed, and stay on point. And we'll see you again next week. Have a good one.